Hey guys, it's Nicole. Nicole Does Stuff, and today I am sharing the Urban Oasis Terrarium project from Darby Smart with you, which is brought to you courtesy of someone who is kind enough to use my referral link. So thank you very much. We have the box right here, and I already partially opened it because I thought it was my monthly box, but it was not. They sent me a 15% off coupon. They sent a little picture frame thingy that I can make. We've got the glass terrarium container it's going to go in. We have some reindeer moss. Quite a bit, actually. We have some white gravel. And then somewhere in here there should be an air plant. Oh, there it is. That's kind of surprising. It's just in there loosely. I expected it to be in some sort of package. Whoops. So we've got, I guess it's a type of plant that doesn't need soil or anything, and it's a pretty cute little bugger. Look at that. Aw, little baby air plant. So I bought these through Darby Smart's website, and the way they do it now is they list all the components on the side, and then you can just add them to the cart, which is kind of nice because obviously I'm going to have extra gravel and extra moss. So if I want to do this again, all I'd have to do is buy another terrarium and another air plant. So if you go to the bottom and click the steps tab, it will pull up the steps for doing this project. Add everything to your container, it looks like. And then I'll need something to hang it with. I think I have ribbon around here. And then air plant care. To water your air plant, remove it from the container and spritz or soak with water for no more than 10 minutes every 2 to 3 days. That seems pretty low maintenance. Enough air and light to dry, no longer than 4 hours after watering. It's important to keep your container or your terrarium water free, so make sure your air plant is nice and dry before placing it back in the container. And I know that somewhere around here there was like a startup information for air plants. Okay, I found the article. I just had to search for Darby Smart air plant care in Google. And 3 things you need to know about air plants. Tiny enough to fit almost anywhere, low maintenance, and soak, dry, repeat. When it arrives, soak it in a small container of water for about 30 minutes. Let it dry completely before placing it in a container. Every week, repeat this process to keep them healthy. So that's a little different than what they said before about soaking it for 10 minutes every 2 to 3 days. I'll probably do the weekly thing. The right light. Air plants love bright indirect light. So that's awesome. You don't have to have it right in front of a window, which gives a lot more options for hanging it. So no direct sunlight. And then keeping up appearances. It's not uncommon for the lower leaves to dry out. Feel free to pull or snip any leaves. They will grow back. So to me, not ever having had an air plant before, it's like so crazy to think about this thing being alive, but not being in any soil or really having any roots. And I'm really looking forward to seeing if it does indeed grow. This is kind of a neat mesh of art and science. So I'm going to get this little guy soaking and then work on the terrarium. I have a small little container that I filled with water. It didn't say which temperature, so I just tried to make the sink make it room temperature. And we'll just pop this little guy in there and let him soak up water for about 30 minutes, like they said. Hopefully he'll spring back to life because I am noticing he does have a few little dark parts and I want him to be happy. Darby Smart actually has a few different options of hanging terrarium. I went with the teardrop, but you can also choose from the small orb or the large orb. And if I like how this goes, I might get the other 2 since I'll have some leftover supplies and do a hanging cluster of them, but I'll have to see how my air plant does and if they are as easy to maintain as they claim they are. I'm happy to see that they packaged it very well. And it's a lot lighter than I expected. I thought it was going to be much heavier glass, but it's actually very thin, very delicate, and ethereal feeling. And then I have some string here that I had in my crafting pile that I'm going to use to hang it. I decided that I'm going to do my string first, and I cut probably about 2 feet, I'd estimate. And I left it kind of on the long side because I figure I can always trim it down rather than have to worry about cutting another longer piece. So I was just very generous. I'm going to make sure I knot it a couple times, so hopefully it doesn't come undone. There's it hanging by the string. And then next I want to arrange my moss and my rocks. Okay, I'm going to put the gravel in my hand first. I don't want to just dump it directly in there. I'm worried about cracking it. I'm sure it's not that delicate, but have to be careful. Oops. And the gravel's kind of neat. It almost has like a little pearly look to it rather than being a flat white. I'm sure it's the same as like fish tank gravel. And there's not a whole lot of a lip right there, so I can't put too much gravel in. I can kind of spread it out so it's creeping up the sides like this, but I would definitely recommend doing your gravel before your moss, because if you put your moss in first and then try to put the gravel in, it's probably going to spill out the top. It'll be up too high. So there we go. And then let's pinch off a little piece of moss. It has a very spongy feeling to it, and it's actually already getting stuck under my fingernails. It's already in little pieces, so I'm gonna just kind of clean this piece up because it's got like little bits of twig or something in there. So let's come on, there we go. Let's see what we can do here. I've kind of got it making just a little wall in the back. Maybe I'll add a little more. I kind of like that look. We got it kind of wrapping around the side there. Tapering around. I tried to make a little bed. I might add a little more gravel to help lock down the moss in the back there. Or maybe I can tuck that underneath. I just want to try to weigh down that moss because I do not want it shifting when I take my air plant in and out for maintenance. Alright, so I made a very simple little kind of cove or burrow for my air plant to live in, and I really like how this looks. I think it's gorgeous, and this is a super simple project. I think most of the fun is not going to come from putting it together because that's very short and very quick, but I think from having the air plant and just seeing this hanging there is going to give a very happy, peaceful feeling. So I would recommend this as a gift for someone, either as a kit, if you can get it to them quick enough where the air plant's not going to die, or as a finished product. After the air plant's done soaking, we'll go ahead and move him into his new home. Yes, I've decided it's a him. I think I'm going to name him Bert. My air plant has soaked for a half hour, so we're going to pull this little guy out. And it said to make sure he is completely dry before you put him back in the terrarium. So we're just going to let him sit there and dry before I put him in his new home. Bert the air plant is dry, and we're just going to pop him in his new home. I trimmed off some of his little dead ends too, since it says it'll grow back. And he's actually a lot bigger than he seemed at first. He fills that up nicely. Check that out. Now I just have to find a place to hang him. Decided to hang it here for now, and he looks happy, and it's in direct sunlight, so hopefully he doesn't die a horrible death. I'll be sad. Thanks for watching Nicole Does Stuff. I'll leave my referral link in the description. If you use that and then use the coupon code I mentioned, you will save $10 as well. I appreciate it because that's what allows me to keep making these videos, and thank you very much to the person who used the referral and let me do this video.